Last summer, something chilling unfolded in my life, a haunting experience that still lingers in my mind. As a 27-year-old man living alone in an apartment outside the city, I often found myself perusing Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for the perfect additions to my new place. Specifically, I was in search of a new couch and a TV stand to complete my living room setup. Little did I know that my innocent quest for furnishings would lead me down a path filled with darkness and danger. It was a Monday night when it all began. Exhausted from a long day at work, I arrived home and decided to casually scroll through the listings while having dinner at the table. Among the various posts, I stumbled upon a couch that caught my eye, a cheap, relatively new piece in good condition. Without hesitation, I sent an email expressing my interest. To my surprise, within seconds, I received a reply from a man named Pete, who claimed he was eager to sell it before he moved out the following morning. Curiosity piqued, I asked for the pickup location. Pete promptly provided an address, which I quickly Googled. It turned out to be a house located in a neighborhood I had never visited before, a 25-minute drive away. Though it was late, and fatigue weighed heavily upon me, I agreed to the rendezvous. After all, what harm could come from a simple furniture pickup? As I embarked on the drive, a light drizzle began to descend, adding to the eerie ambience that awaited me. Winding through dark, poorly lit roads, I eventually arrived in the neighborhood, where only a few scattered streetlights offered dim illumination. Most houses remained shrouded in darkness, save for one, the house where the couch resided. As I pulled into the driveway, my headlights revealed a man rummaging through the corner of the garage. Catching sight of my arrival, he hastily retreated into the house. Waiting patiently in my car, I expected him to return, but minutes ticked by, and there was no sign of his presence. A disquieting feeling began to creep over me, and I contemplated leaving when suddenly the door swung open. The man who greeted me was not the same person I had spotted in the garage. Identifying himself as Pete, he invited me inside to examine the couch. Nervously, I followed him into the living room, where the table appeared as it did in the pictures, undamaged and in good shape. Yet, as I attempted to voice my intention to purchase, Pete diverted my attention with small talk, sharing details about his new house and his recent purchase. His incessant chatter grew uncomfortable, as though he were purposely delaying my departure. After what felt like an eternity, I interrupted him and stressed that I was pressed for time, needing to return home soon. Abruptly, he fell silent and offered the table to me for free. A wave of suspicion washed over me, but I accepted the offer nonetheless, eager to conclude the encounter. Together, we carried the table through the house, making our way toward the garage. However, before we could reach safety, a sudden noise echoed behind us, catching us off guard. A masked figure emerged from the shadows, sprinting toward us with alarming speed. Panic surged through my veins, leaving me frozen in fear and confusion. The menacing intruder, brandishing a knife, demanded my wallet and phone. Though his threats loomed, I summoned the courage to defy him, bolting toward my car in a desperate bid for escape. The masked assailant lunged, narrowly missing his mark, as I fumbled to secure myself within the vehicle. Locking the doors, I sped away, trembling with a mixture of terror and relief. It wasn't until I had driven several blocks that I noticed a searing pain on my arm. Glancing down, I discovered a shallow cut, its mark a grim reminder of the knife-wielding stranger's failed attack. I pulled over, trembling, and dialed the authorities, sharing every detail of the encounter, the address, the descriptions of the two men involved. The police quickly arrived, launching an investigation that would uncover the sinister truth. As it turned out, Pete, yes, that was his real name, admitted that the masked assailant was his accomplice. They had orchestrated the encounter solely to rob me, with no intention of selling any furniture. It appeared to be their first foray into such criminal acts, which explained the peculiar behavior that had initially raised my suspicions. The authorities apprehended both of them, and while they faced charges, the consequences were not as severe as one might expect. Reflecting on that harrowing night, I can't help but feel fortunate that I made the split-second decision to run, denying them the opportunity to exploit and harm me further. However, a sense of unease lingers, for I can't help but wonder if they would have continued preying on unsuspecting victims had I allowed them to succeed. This incident served as a chilling reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected corners of our lives, concealed beneath a seemingly innocuous Craigslist ad. From that day forward, I have become more vigilant, wary of the hidden perils that can emerge in the shadows, even in the simplest of transactions. The unanswered questions continue to haunt me, leaving me with a lingering sense of unease and an understanding that true darkness can dwell just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting a dusky glow over the city as I sat alone in my apartment, browsing through Craigslist for some affordable furniture. Moving into a new place was always exciting, but the thought of furnishing it on a budget left me scrolling through countless listings. And then, as if fate had intervened, my eyes locked onto an ad that seemed too good to be true. Vintage cherry wood dining set. $200, excellent condition, the title read. The accompanying photo showcased an elegant table surrounded by 4 ornate chairs begging for a new home. Intrigued, I clicked on the ad and found the seller's contact information. Excitement surged through me as I dialed the number, eager to strike a deal. The phone rang several times before a gravelly voice answered. "Hello?" I introduced myself and inquired about the dining set. The voice on the other end was curt but polite, giving me a brief description and mentioning that the furniture was stored in the basement of a house on the outskirts of town. Despite the location, the price and quality were too tempting to resist. We agreed to meet the following evening. As I made my way through unfamiliar streets the next day, anticipation mingled with a slight unease. The address led me to a desolate area, with houses spaced far apart, surrounded by dense woods. The eerie silence sent a shiver down my spine, but my desire to acquire the dining set outweighed any lingering doubts. Arriving at the designated house, I noticed its dilapidated state. Peeling paint, broken windows, and an unkempt lawn gave it an air of neglect. Hesitating for a moment, I took a deep breath and convinced myself that appearances could be deceiving. The front door creaked open as I approached, revealing a dimly lit interior. The sound of my footsteps echoed through the empty hallway as I made my way towards the basement stairs. A flickering light bulb dangled above, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The smell of must and dampness permeated the air, making my heart race. With each step descending into the depths, an invisible weight pressed upon my chest. The basement, cloaked in darkness, seemed to hold secrets waiting to be unearthed. The sound of a door creaking shut echoed ominously behind me, causing me to spin around, only to find myself alone. Gingerly, I walked forward, guided by the faint light filtering through a small, barred window. Stacks of boxes lined the walls, covered in layers of dust. The seller was nowhere to be seen. Doubt began to creep in, tainting my initial excitement. Perhaps I'd made a grave mistake. Just as I was about to turn and retreat, a whisper reached my ears, carried on the wind that seeped through the cracks. "Stay," it seemed to say, beckoning me further into the abyss. Compelled by a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, I pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. Suddenly, a glimmer caught my eye. At the far end of the room, a table, identical to the one in the photo, stood bathed in a faint beam of moonlight. A sigh of relief escaped my lips. The dining set was real. As I approached, my hand reached out to touch the smooth wood, only to freeze in midair. A low groan reverberated through the room, the sound neither human nor mechanical. Panic surged within me, but curiosity bound me to that spot. I reached for the nearest chair, hesitating before sitting down. A sharp jolt ran up my spine as the chair trembled beneath me. Fear now consumed me, but I was trapped, as if held in place by invisible restraints. The room seemed to shrink, suffocating me with its oppressive aura. Time lost its meaning as the hours stretched into eternity. Shadows danced along the walls, twisting and contorting in macabre patterns. Whispers echoed through the darkness, their meaning indecipherable, yet pregnant with malevolence. In that abyss, I questioned my own sanity. Was this a nightmare, or had I stumbled into a realm where nightmares became reality? My mind grasped at rational explanations, but none could dispel the palpable fear that clung to me like a second skin. And then, just as abruptly as it began, the torment ceased. The room bathed in a soft, ethereal light, revealing a door that materialized where there was none before. It beckoned to me, promising escape from the clutches of that forsaken place. As I stumbled towards the door, the whispers grew louder, more urgent. Each step felt like wading through molasses, but I persisted, my yearning for freedom overpowering the sinister forces that held me captive. I reached out, grasping the doorknob, and turned it, hoping for salvation. But what lay beyond that threshold remains a mystery. The door swung open, revealing only darkness, swallowing my screams before they could escape. And then, with a sudden gust of wind, the door slammed shut, leaving me shrouded in eternal silence. To this day, my mind reels with unanswered questions. Was it a trap orchestrated by a deranged individual? Or had I stumbled upon something more otherworldly, where the line between reality and nightmare blur? I may never know, for the answers lie buried within the depths of that basement, forever lost in shadow. I remember it like it was yesterday, the day I stumbled upon a Craigslist ad that would forever change my perspective on online transactions and meeting strangers. Little did I know that beneath the innocent facade of a harmless individual lay a psychopathic seller, lurking in the depths of the digital realm, waiting to ensnare unsuspecting victims in a web of horror. It all began innocently enough. In search of a vintage typewriter to complete my collection, I turned to Craigslist, that virtual marketplace where dreams and nightmares intertwine. Scrolling through the listings, I came across an enticing offer, a pristine antique typewriter at a remarkably low price. Intrigued, I clicked on the ad and was greeted by a series of beautifully captured photographs showcasing the vintage masterpiece. The seller, going by the name Jonathan, appeared friendly and approachable, his messages punctuated with warm and inviting tones. We agreed to meet at a secluded coffee shop nestled on the outskirts of town, far from prying eyes. As I drove through winding roads enveloped by a dense forest, an unsettling sensation crept up my spine, as if a silent warning whispered through the air. Ignoring my growing unease, I pushed forward, fueled by curiosity and a desire to complete my collection. The quaint coffee shop emerged from the darkness like a beacon of warmth. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the soft murmur of conversation greeted my senses, offering a temporary respite from the apprehension that had settled within me. I spotted a man fitting Jonathan's description seated in the corner, his eyes hidden behind a pair of round spectacles. With a nervous smile, I approached him, our introduction cloaked in casual small talk. Jonathan appeared to be an ordinary middle-aged man, dressed in a neat suit and exuding an air of sophistication. We exchanged pleasantries, and he led me to his car parked just outside, a nondescript sedan that blended seamlessly into the sea of vehicles. As we embarked on our journey to his undisclosed location, I noticed an eerie calmness in his demeanor, a tranquility that belied the darkness lurking beneath the surface. Navigating through desolate roads, we ventured deeper into the heart of the countryside. With every passing mile, the familiar surroundings grew more unfamiliar, the idyllic landscape transforming into a haunting tapestry of shadows. My heart pounded in my chest, the weight of an impending danger bearing down on me. Yet, an inexplicable curiosity compelled me to continue, to unravel the mystery that awaited me at the journey's end. Finally, we arrived at a dilapidated farmhouse, standing as a lonely sentinel against the encroaching night. Its weathered facade whispered tales of forgotten memories and untold secrets. As I stepped out of the car, a gust of wind howled through the surrounding trees, carrying with it a chilling foreboding. Ignoring the alarm bells ringing in my mind, I followed Jonathan into the depths of the forsaken abode. Within its walls, a dimly lit room welcomed me, a sanctuary of antiquities and curiosities. Dust danced in the filtered sunlight, casting eerie shadows on the cracked wallpaper. My eyes scanned the room, drawn to a vintage typewriter that sat atop a dusty desk, bathed in an ethereal glow. It was the very object I had sought, a relic from a bygone era. Yet, as Jonathan handed it to me, a sinister glimmer danced in his eyes, betraying a malevolence I had failed to see before. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized the gravity of my situation. The encounters shared by the victims now echoed in my mind, their tales of narrow escapes and inexplicable terror. I was just another pawn in Jonathan's game, a player about to be consumed by his insidious web. Panic surged through my veins, urging me to flee, to break free from the clutches of this psychopathic seller. As I made my escape, footsteps echoed behind me, growing louder and more frenzied with each passing second. Fear propelled me forward, my heart pounding in my ears, as I raced through the darkened halls, desperately seeking an exit. The house seemed to creak and moan, as if relishing in my terror, taunting me with its labyrinthine layout. The dim light flickered, casting disorienting shadows that danced mockingly on the walls. With every turn, the air grew heavier, the darkness more suffocating. It was as if the house itself conspired with Jonathan, orchestrating a macabre symphony of fear. My lungs burned, my legs threatened to give way, yet I pushed forward, fueled by sheer survival instinct. Finally, a sliver of moonlight pierced through a cracked window, guiding me towards freedom. Gasping for breath, I burst through the farmhouse door, stumbling into the night, my heart pounding against my chest like a caged animal. The chilling wind whipped through my hair, as if carrying whispers of the horrors that had transpired within those cursed walls. I collapsed to the ground, a mixture of relief and terror flooding my senses, realizing that I had narrowly escaped the clutches of a true psychopath. To this day, the unanswered questions haunt me. Who was Jonathan? What dark secrets lay hidden within that forsaken farmhouse? And how many others had fallen victim to his twisted game? The world may never know the full extent of his malevolence, but the chilling encounters shared by the survivors serve as a stark reminder, a testament to the potential dangers lurking behind the veil of online anonymity and the perils of meeting strangers in the darkest corners of the internet. Thank you for joining me on this harrowing journey into the dark realm of the psychopathic Craigslist seller. If you found this story gripping and captivating, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more thrilling tales. If you're hungry for another adventure, go ahead and click on the next video playing on your screen. Let's continue exploring the hidden depths of the human psyche and the chilling mysteries that lie in wait. And to all the brave souls out there who have encountered their own encounters with the strange and sinister, I invite you to share your experiences in the comments below. Let's create a community where we can come together, share our stories, and remind each other of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a seemingly harmless encounter.